It sucks when something as easy as, hey, we need to see the mouse on the computer when we record a video, can make it to where the easiest option is just to re-record the whole dang video. So that's what we're doing. But whatever. So there's some cool stuff out there now that, well, Pascal, sorry if I said it wrong. A few other people on RCGroups. If you don't know what RCGroups are, they're a forum kind of centralized around pretty much everything in this hobby. And there's some really, really smart people over there that do some really, really cool things. This specific video is about getting the Radiomaster TX16s to work with the internal receiver and the OMPHobby M2. That's been a question that probably comes in our email or phone calls every week on, I bought this brand new M2 and I have this brand new TX16s. How do I get it to work together? Well, you don't. Well, why not? Well, this is OMP's own protocol and it doesn't work in that radio. Okay, well, the radio's multi-protocol. I don't know, man. I just work here. But there's a lot of people out there that are a whole lot smarter than me that did some really cool stuff. So now with the firmware update, this radio works with the receiver. It works really well. I've been testing it for the past few days. We have it working. This video, we're going to go through how to change the firmware on the transmitter, how to download a model from, well, the description, put it through OpenTX companion onto the transmitter, and then go fly a helicopter. So not really plug and play-ish. There's a little bit of work involved, but it's a whole lot easier than if you sat through the 40-minute long OpenTX video that we did not too long ago. So I'll quit rambling. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We do tutorials, well, reviews on a lot of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Vlogs, I think it's fun. I have fun. Whatever. Let's get this set up. So the first thing we're going to do is update the firmware in the transmitter. Now I know when I plug this in directly to my computer, it'll pop up and actually show me the files. I've heard some people having issues with that, so we're not doing that. We're taking the SD card out of this transmitter. So it is in the bottom down here. So if you pull open the little bottom piece, it's in the dead center. So just pop that SD card out. And we are going to put it straight into the computer. I have an adapter. So plug this in. It's going to open up. And you're going to see all these folders. If it doesn't open up, go into your Explorer or whatever. But we're looking for this firmware folder. Double click it and you'll see I already have the firmware in here. Let's delete that just so we can start at the same. So these are the firmwares that actually shipped with my transmitter. So in the description there's a link. If you click that link, it's going to pretty much open up what you see here on my computer screen. And what this is the OMP firmware and model files. There's 2 files in this, just download it. I promise I'm not trying to give any viruses or anything. We'll open that up and extract all, extract, and this is what we're looking for here. So double click, you'll see 2 files in this. One says firmware, one says model. We need the firmware. So open up our window that was our firmware folder, wherever that went. So there it is. Click the firmware in the one we just downloaded, drag it over, drop it, it'll copy. That's it. We can close out these windows. So close this one. We'll keep this one open for the model later. And take our SD card out, and we're back to the radio. So transmitter. Pull open the little flap, the SD card with the little gold metal pieces facing up, transmitter facing up. Insert it. Another thing that we see a lot of in emails, people breaking their SD cards. Man, don't just fat finger this thing in there, just nice and easy. You'll hear it click. Put the little plastic piece back. And now we want to turn on our radio. Let me make sure his GoPro's still rolling. So now we want to turn on our radio.
Welcome to OpenTX.
It'll boot up, so all of the firmware updates, she's loud. all the firmware updates we're doing straight from the radio. So hold your system button up here at the top left. We're looking for page over 1. So all these are the files that we just saw on the computer. Scroll down to firmware, enter, and the one with all the capital letters for firmware, click it, and we want to flash the internal multi. So it'll take a minute. Flash successful. Press enter and return and return and return. Firmware's flashed, it's updated, it's ready to go. Easiest way to check it, if you hold down your model, comes into this screen, scroll up right here, you'll see multi and whatever, if it's not OMP right now, a different protocol, you can scroll over and you'll find OMP. So it's in there. I need to turn the volume down. Let me turn the volume down before we really get started. All right, turn the volume down so you don't have to listen to all those beeps so loudly while we do all this crap. All right, now with that being done, firmware's updated. The next thing really is, man, I'm telling you, this is so simple. This video is gonna be long, but just because I ramble. So now we wanna put the model from the folder that we downloaded to the transmitter, but first we need to download OpenTX Companion. So if you go to Google, you type in like OpenTX Companion, the top link should say downloads. If it doesn't, again, description, link, click it, nice and easy. It takes you to this page here. And on this page, we're looking just for whatever's the top one. So in this specific video, we're using OpenTX 2.3.9, mainly trying to keep everything the same in this video because if something changes, this video may not be relevant anymore. So 2.3.9, click it. And sometime today, there we go. Down here at the bottom, I have Windows, so I need to use the Windows installer. This will download, wow, fast. Click it, and we'll just bam through real quick to click all these buttons to get this thing installed. I agree, next. No, I don't want it there. I want it in. Gotta keep my C drive clean, man. Next, next, install, who cares? And we wait yet again. Next, and go ahead and open it. Alright, so just click through these. So when you first open this, it's going to give you this screen here. Edit settings, radio type. I'm using the Radiomaster TX16s, so let's change that to Radiomaster TX16s, and then just hit OK. Make the screen bigger. Another thing you need is the USB-C cable. This one came with the transmitter. Plug it into the side. Now, the Radiomaster transmitter has 2 USB-C ports. One in the bottom, that's for charging the internal batteries. For charging the batteries. The one on the top is for making this thing either run simulators or accessing the storage. So we want to plug into the top. Once it plugs in, you'll see a message here. One says joystick, one says storage. Obviously we want storage. Click it, connects to the computer. And when it connects, you'll see it pops up, at least on mine. It has 2 folders. One is this, one is the one we had earlier. Some people actually don't see that, so that's why we did the SD card, pull it out. So go over to OpenTX, and on OpenTX, you want to click the little orange, yellow, whatever color you see. Color blindness is okay. So this arrow here that says read models and settings. And we'll delete this because that is the one we're putting on. So this is what is on my radio right now. We have SIM, Apex, OMPHobby M2. That's the one we actually built in the previous video. So with those being there, now we want to open the file that we downloaded from the description. So file, open, and we are looking for the OpenTX firmware, the file that we downloaded earlier. Duh. So model is the one we want, double click it, and it opens up a second window here. So OpenTX, I keep saying that. OMP M2 internal RX. This is the one we need. So we're going to click it, drag it over, highlight models, and drop it. So now it shows it's in your model list for the radio. Go ahead and close out of the model one that we just opened. And now we need to flash this to the transmitter. So the little red arrow, whatever, the one that points down, click it. Looks like nothing happened. It just sent it to the transmitter. So now we can just go ahead and close everything out. If you want to save all of the models you have on your radio to your computer, you can save it now. That way you have a complete backup on your PC. I'm not really worried about it. Discard. We're done with the computer. Now everything's on the transmitter. So we can unplug it, throw it off to the side. And if you go into the model selection, so hold down on the wheel, pops up, go to model select, you'll see all the models that we just put on there. So over here on the right, OMP M2 internal RX. Push down, click select model. I don't know if you can hear that, I turned the volume down. So I've got everything set up to kind of read out to you. So if your throttle cut is on, so throttle cut meaning the motor's not going to spin, it will say engine off. Normal mode is a thing. Flight mode 1 is idle up 1. Flight mode 2 is idle up 2. The only thing that I didn't put a sound on is for stabilization mode on and off. Go through it real quick here. If you look at our transmitter face, the SG switch here, if you pull it towards you, that is throttle cut. So that means your motor's not going to spin. Pushing it away from you, that will activate the helicopter. If you're in normal mode, it's not going to spin up until you bump the throttle. If you're in idle up 1 or 2, it's going to start spinning. So that has to be towards you when you turn the transmitter on. This switch over here, SE, if it's pushed away from you, this is normal mode. Flight mode 1 is in the center. Flight mode 2 is pulled towards you. So normal mode. And then your SF switch back here, if it's pulled towards you, I think. Yes. So if this is pulled towards you, stabilization mode is turned off. We're going to verify all this in a minute. If you push it away, it actually will activate stabilization mode. So the idea is while you're flying, if you're like me and you're new to 3D and you're trying to hover inverted and you lose orientation, you can flip that switch away from you and the stabilization mode is going to kick in. It'll flip the helicopter right side up and it will, not really hold it there, but it's going to flip it over for you. Obviously, if you're 6 inches to a couple feet off the ground, it's not going to work as well as you would hope, but it is there to kind of lend a hand. So it's a cool feature to have. Other than that, let's get this thing bound up. So in order to do that, let's get the transmitter set first. So hold your model switch over here, model button, whatever. Scroll up until you get to multi, and it should say OMP right there. If it doesn't say OMP, click it, scroll through, find OMP. Come down, highlight bind. We'll leave that set there for right now. Just public service announcement. You notice my blades are not on my helicopter. Anytime we're doing any kind of setup like this, where we're not really connected to it and we're binding, remove the blades of your helicopter. This is very important. You don't want something to mess up and this thing to go off like a lawnmower sitting in your living room and cut you, your kids, or your dog, or if you have a cat. You don't want to do that. Now come over to the helicopter, and on the heli, right here, camera's a little dark, but right here it says bind, and under that bind is a button. And instead of having to hold it down while you plug in the battery, don't do any of that. Just plug the battery in. It'll turn on, then hold the bind button. You'll hold it down for a little bit, just a couple seconds. So it'll start flashing. Come over to your transmitter, click bind. Takes just a second. It'll initialize. Boom, done. So now you move your sticks around. Everything's working. So that's awesome. But let's do a quick test. So normal mode is SE pushed away from you. So we want that away from us. And that's it. So push SG away from you. That'll activate the motor. Bump your throttle a little bit. Motor turns on. Normal mode's working. Pull SG back towards you. Flight mode 1. You can see we have full range of pitch on flight mode 1. SG away from you. Start idles up. So good. Now there is a timer on this. The way you reset the timer that I have it set up is SH, our momentary switch. If you pull it towards you, resets the timer. We check our self level. So right now my SF switch is pushed away, and you can see it is trying to hold orientation. If we pull SF towards us, it actually stops that, and it goes into, you know, how you would expect without any stabilization. So stabilized, not stabilized. Stabilized, not stabilized. I like it. Otherwise, that's literally all there is to it. We could put the blades on this and go outside and test it. But I'm not going to do that because, like we said at the beginning of this video, I had to re-record this stuff. So I have cell phone video of us testing this out the day before yesterday. So we'll throw that in. You can kind of see a little bit of behind the scenes testing stuff going on. You actually see me flip this thing over. But I love it. Really appreciative for all the hard work that the guys are putting in to get this working together without needing an external receiver. Now, with all of this being said, the curves are not in the transmitter if you're using the internal receiver. So if you look at the model that you just put on the transmitter, it's literally just inputs and switches. So the throttle curves, the pitch curves, everything is actually handled with the OMP internal receiver. So if you're a more professional pilot, you know what you're doing, it's probably better off if you use an external receiver so you can actually set all of that up, you know, yourself. So otherwise, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I hope you learned something from this. I hope if you're one of the many people that have sent us a message about binding the Radiomaster to the M2, you're watching this video and it's helped you along. Otherwise, I'll shut up. We'll get into the behind the scenes testing video now. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Okay, so what we got, show you here. So gyro is on this switch. If this switch is down, self level's off. This switch is down, normal mode, idle up 1, idle up 2. There's 0 curves programmed into this. It's all, I guess, internal. We really don't know. That's why we're doing this. So switch it down, you can see pitch changes with this switch, which is channel 6. This is our flight modes. So we're gonna start this switch down for normal mode, this switch down, gyro on, throttle holds here, turn throttle hold off. So this should be normal mode. Just a quick test to make sure. Looks like everything's working as intended. So forward, back, everything's working. Normal mode works. Alright, let's try idle up 1. Where's that at? Actually, let's try to turn gyro off. So gyro off now. So gyro is off. So channel 7 is in fact gyro. Self level, whatever you want to call it. So let's try idle up 1 with gyro off. So throttle hold, idle up 1, pitch 0, throttle hold off. Negative pitch, good. Gyro's off. Throttle hold, idle up 1's working. So idle up 2, we should hear the head go up. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's definitely working.
So idle 1.
Yeah, you can hear the head speed change. Hey, it's a
I lost orientation.
That's
what I don't like.
I thought it was upside down.
I'm not good at this yet.
I thought he's landing it upside down. Oh no. And then it's, hey, it's right side up. Nice. Nice roll. Flip.
rowdy. So idle up one. Let's try idle up two. That is terrifying.
That's screaming.
But I mean, it's good Lord. You see that thrust?
That's jumpy, man.
So that is jumpy. That is really jumpy. It feels like it is very, I don't know. I don't want to call it not. It's very mushy on throttle. Like if you
So
can,
the governor's taking over. Is that what it's?
I really don't know. It's like it's mushy right there.
Or is it Expo?
I think there's a lot of expo for something.
Yeah.
But I'm not an expert, so I'm not really sure.
Double it. Do a double.
Nope. But that's what, so it works. I'm not good enough to know if it works well. So we're going to send it off to another guy and let him test this model. Let him tell me what he thinks. But hey, we're bound to Radiomaster with the internal OMP
Yeah.
receiver. So
Yeah,
that's
we
cool.
did.